If there's one thing we love, it's watching crooks who think they're clever end up in a world of hurt purely because of their own stupidity. Nothing beats a blunder like that for a good laugh, and to remind us that a life of crime just isn't worth it, right? That's exactly what you're about to see today. So go ahead and smash that like button, click subscribe down below, and let's get to it. Two prisoners put on a real display of clumsiness at the door of the police station, and a television crew managed to record everything. They arrived calmly in the civil police cruiser, almost as if they would go in without any trouble, but it did not take long for things to get out of control. The two prisoners, who were cuffed to each other with the same handcuff, decided to make their escape right in front of the officers who were accompanying them. The detail that caught everyone's attention was a tree standing smack in the middle of their path, an unexpected obstacle that ended up ruining the fugitives' attempt. The two ran straight into the tree, and soon the police arrived and made sure they did not get away. Other officers quickly came to help recapture them, and they were taken back inside the police station. In the end, what was supposed to be a quick getaway turned into an utter embarrassment. A guy named Zach decided to turn the tables on cell phone thieves after being robbed several times on the streets. Tired of being just another victim and watching criminals vanish without consequences, he chose to take matters into his own hands, and in a big way. Instead of waiting for the police to sort things out, Zach created a movie-worthy operation, combining creativity, technology, and sheer audacity. He enlisted the help of a friend named Molly, who had also been robbed before, and together they began to devise an audacious plan. The idea was simple yet ingenious: scatter dummy phones at busy spots in the city known for frequent device thefts. The goal was to lure thieves, leave the devices in plain sight, and wait for someone to take the bait. When that happened, they would chase after the thief to try to retrieve the phone. After several failed attempts, where the thieves managed to get away, Zach finally got his payback. One of the criminals grabbed the fake phone and walked off, thinking he had hit the jackpot. But minutes later, Zach came running, caught up with him, and tugged the device back with a fishing line he had tied to the phone himself. Yet he did not stop there. To really rub it in, Zach stuck a sign on the thief's back reading, "I am a thief," in big letters for everyone to see. And the funniest part, the petty crook did not even notice what was happening. He walked off calmly as if nothing had happened while bystanders watched and laughed. Result, the thief got literally branded, and Zach became the unlikely hero of an unexpected story. An elderly man was peacefully enjoying a pizza in a pizzeria when he was ambushed by a merciless robber, all captured by the venue's security cameras. The criminal acted swiftly and tried to flee, but he did not count on the intervention of Timothy Ratcliffe, the owner of the neighboring restaurant. Upon witnessing the crime, Timothy did not hesitate. He sprinted after the criminal down the bustling Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, United States. The chase turned into pure urban chaos, with Timothy managing to knock the assailant to the ground as he continued to struggle. At that crucial moment, Timothy's girlfriend also stepped in, helping to pin the thief down in the middle of the street while cars passed by and onlookers watched in stunned silence. What shocked everyone even more was discovering that Timothy personally knew the criminal. He had been helping the man for 2 months, offering him food and water, only to be betrayed so cowardly. However, the story took an unexpected turn. Despite the incident, victim and rescuer got to know each other better afterward and ended up forging a friendship that promises to last. But the twist did not end there. After the criminal's arrest, which was supposed to lead to his trial the next day, the police lost track of him within the Los Angeles jail system. This absurd oversight outraged the community and raised questions about the efficiency of the judicial system. Thus, what began as a common robbery turned into a remarkable episode of courage, betrayal, and twists, demonstrating that even in adverse situations, strong friendships can emerge and endure. Some criminals seem to be begging to get arrested, and this one is a prime example of how everything can go wrong in record time. A man walked into a gas station thinking he would get away clean. He went straight for the attendant, carrying himself like he was certain of victory. But in his excitement, he forgot to look around. And in this case, who was watching the whole scene was an officer who, by pure coincidence, happened to be at the station with a colleague. The footage was captured by security cameras and looks like a comedy sketch script. The criminal barely had time to process what was happening. When he tried to rob someone, it was already too late. One of the officers sprang into action and brought him down before he could even react. Within seconds, the man who walked in thinking he was the clever one was lying immobilized on the ground. Everything happened so fast that even the attendant was momentarily stunned. What was supposed to be a robbery turned into practically a crash course on how to be a complete idiot. Outcome? The thief walked out in handcuffs. Two criminals were fleeing from the police along a rural road when events took such an unexpected turn that it would be hard to believe if it weren't recorded. After being pursued by patrol cars, the vehicle they were in stopped in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by farms. One suspect did not get far. As soon as he stepped out of the car, officers detained him, but the other decided to try his luck and ran toward a pasture, thinking he could hide among the vegetation. He did not count on the special agents that were already there. The fugitive entered a field where several cows were grazing, and that is when things went south, for him at least. The animals, startled by the unexpected presence, began to approach firmly. The cows didn't just move, they surrounded the man so efficiently it almost seemed like they had been trained for this. He had to backtrack, dodge, and change direction several times, trying not to be cornered. The chase reached a new level. Now it was not only the police on his heels, but also a herd of angry bovines. Despite the running, the fright, and the bovine dodging, the suspect managed to exit the field, but all that chaos bought more than enough time for the officers to close in and make the arrest. Outcome, both were detained. And that day, the officers learned that cows might be more effective than you'd think when it comes to thwarting criminals. In the United States, a thief thought he had made the best purchase of the day without paying a dime. He walked past a house and saw, right at the doorstep, a brand new TV box. Large, sealed, looking like it had just come from the store. Without a second thought, he grabbed the box and left as if he were carrying a prize. But what he did not know was that he had walked straight into an unintentional trap. It turned out the homeowner had left the box there on purpose. The TV had been broken for ages, and he just wanted to get rid of the bulky item. Rather than throwing it away, he figured it was easier to leave it outside and wait for the trash collectors. But before they arrived, the smart guy carried it off thinking he'd hit the jackpot. The scene was recorded by a security camera, and the irony did not go unnoticed. The video went viral, and many found it only fair in the end. A thief stealing something nobody wanted. This is the kind of thief who seems to regret his actions before the crime is even over. A man was standing next to his own motorcycle, distracted, looking at something in his bag, when someone beside him seized the moment and, without any shame, snatched the wallet from the victim's pocket. Everything seemed to go smoothly until the thief looked back. That is when he noticed something crucial: a security camera filming the entire scene. His expression changed instantly. Without thinking twice, he discreetly dropped the wallet on the ground and, as if nothing had happened, alerted the owner and even pointed at it with the utmost nonchalance. But the most unexpected moment came next. Aware he had been filmed, the thief looked straight at the camera and made a "my bad, don't tell" gesture with his hands, almost apologizing to whoever would watch the footage later. A desperate attempt to save face. A woman was caught trying to steal ice cream straight from a self-service machine as if nobody was watching. But someone was. Another woman recorded the whole thing on her cell phone, while the clever one filled a cup without paying and walked away calmly, savoring what she thought was a free treat. But the universe seemed to deliver instant payback. As soon as she left the place still holding the ice cream, she walked down the street distractedly, and then came the shock. A bus passed by and lightly struck her, enough to knock her to the ground. The impact wasn't serious, she was fine. But the ice cream, that did not survive.
Boneca, você tá fazendo o que aí dentro, mulher? Pelo amor de Deus. Agora, eu gravei bem na hora. Tá roubando sorvete, né?
The scene went viral, not only for its unexpected sequence, but for the irony of the moment. Many commented on how life sometimes reacts faster than we imagine. Three thieves thought they would have a field day climbing the stairs of an apartment building, ready to break in and grab whatever they could carry. The plan seemed simple: enter quickly, take everything, and disappear. But what they did not expect was that on the other side of the door was a resident who was not at all inclined to make things easy, and who, to top it off, was shirtless and looking like he was already in fight mode. As soon as the criminals tried to act, the door slammed open and the man charged at them with full force. Without saying a word, he went straight for the three, who were left completely completely bewildered. Faced with the enraged homeowner, the thieves realized it was better to run. Within seconds, all three were sprinting down the stairs as if they had seen a wild animal. In the end, nobody was hurt, nothing was stolen, and the criminals will probably think twice before choosing their next target. After all, you never know when the victim will be faster, braver, and ready to charge out of the door UFC style. Sometimes being a criminal requires a bit of luck as well, and this fellow clearly had none. During a protest that ended in chaos in France, several shops were vandalized and looted in the suburbs of Paris, France. In the midst of the confusion, a man thought it would be a good idea to take advantage and clean out a store inside a shopping mall. The problem was he chose the worst possible moment. As he calmly exited with the stolen items in his hands, thinking he had succeeded, a television news crew was right there, broadcasting everything live to show the damage. And to make matters worse, the police also arrived at that exact moment. Result? He was caught red-handed, with cameras recording every second him trying to sneak away, and within moments, being led away by officers, the footage airing across the country. What was supposed to be a quiet theft made headlines, and not in the way he had imagined. A man arrived on a motorcycle to rob a woman, thinking he would do it all in a flash. He got off the vehicle, went straight to her, snatched her purse, and ran off. But he forgot one small detail. He left the motorcycle running and ran in the opposite direction. The victim, who was not going to just stand there, seized the opportunity. As soon as the thief ran off, she acted quickly, jumped on the bike, and rode away. When the criminal realized something was wrong, it was too late. He turned around and saw the motorcycle speeding away with the woman, and the only thing he could do was chase after her on foot, clutching the stolen purse and trying to recover his loot. In the end, the crook ended up with a purse that was probably worth less than half the bike, and he had to return on foot, assuming he was not arrested before. A robbery that started badly and ended even worse. And the victim? She became the heroine of the day, and she rode off on two wheels. A group of criminals broke into a house thinking they had everything under control. They restrained the people inside and began to ransack the place for money and valuables. What they did not know was that they were being watched the whole time by security cameras. And more, the homeowner was not present but was monitoring everything remotely on his phones. While the invaders were working, he had a simple idea. Using the house's own sound system activated remotely, he broadcast a clear message. He told them he knew about the break-in, that the neighbors were aware, and that the police had already been called.
Hey, who's in my house? I got you on camera.
The cops are on the way.
The cops are on their way. My neighbors are there. They're calling the cops right now.
The announcement coming out of nowhere caught the criminals completely off guard. This is the kind of case that makes you wonder, how do people still fall for these scams? A group of criminals in India set up an illicit call center in Mohali, India, posing as technical support for well-known printer brands. The scam was simple, but well planned. They advertised a fake support number online, hoping that people with defective printers would call for help. On the other end of the line, the scammers asked for remote access to the victim's computer, pretended to find errors, and offered a protection against hackers, selling useless plans for hundreds of dollars. Everything seemed to work, until an investigator decided to turn the tables. He hacked into their system, accessed security cameras and internal computers, uncovered the name of the fake company, Asoft Tech Solutions, and even caught the ringleader flaunting his ill-gotten gains on social media. The best part, he confronted the scammers live, using their own computers. Suddenly, the call center staff panicked, shut down cameras, deleted accounts, and fled the premises, all recorded and shared online. Outcome, a multi-million-dollar scam with more than 2,000 victims exposed in detail, and a group of criminals who probably never imagined they would be undone by the very technology they used to deceive others. A couple was strolling down the sidewalk when two robbers interrupted their walk. One of them got off a motorcycle and confronted the pair, intending to take whatever they could. What they did not expect was the man's reaction. He simply refused to hand over anything and charged at the criminals with everything he had. The scene, captured by security cameras, shows the man grappling with one of the thieves while the other, still on the motorcycle, stood there unsure whether to help or flee. The oddest part is that the rider chose the easiest option. He revved the engine and left his accomplice behind, mind without a second thought. Meanwhile, the robber who was left tried to escape but ended up pinned to the ground, first by the man who fought back and then with help from another passerby who decided to lend a hand. But it is worth remembering, no matter how impressive the courage, confronting an assailant in a robbery can have serious consequences, and we should never recommend doing so. This thief starred in one of the most disastrously hilarious burglary attempts ever captured by security cameras. It all began when he tried to break into a supermarket by climbing onto the roof, but on his first attempt, he tumbled hard before even making it up. Still dazed, he persisted, managed to climb up, found an opening, and threw himself inside the store, only to crash to the floor again with a cartoon-worthy thud. Inside, still half stunned, he tried to break through a glass door to get out, but it did not work. Then he grabbed a ladder from the supermarket itself and tried to climb back to the roof. Result? He fell again, this time onto a shelf. Completely defeated and probably out of any more wild ideas, he did what seemed most sensible at that moment. Sat down on the floor, lit a cigarette, and waited for the police to arrive, almost resigned to his lack of criminal talent. The bungled burglary became an internet joke and proof that sometimes the thief's biggest obstacle is himself. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.